So finally, the third marriage preventing yoga in this series, Venus and the Moon in opposition in the first and seventh houses. The third marriage preventing yoga is when you have Venus and the Moon opposite each other in the first and seventh houses. However, I have to say that I've noticed that it still has similar effects, even when it is not in the first and the seventh house axis. Now, the reason this yoga is a problem for marriage is because Venus and the Moon have opposite agendas. The Moon is about getting our personal emotional needs met, but Venus is about meeting the needs of the relationship itself. This affects the easy flow of give and take in love and often results in a permanently unbalanced relationship. It also indicates a person who takes things too personally, goes to emotional extremes, and tries to get all their emotional needs met through their partner. Now, taking things too personally, that could be a subtle change of voice tone. It could be if the partner is having a stressful day, and so their tone of voice, which has nothing to do with the other person, can be taken as a personal sign of disrespect. So needless to say, taking everything personally, especially that is not meant to be personal, can cause a lot of problems in your relationships. Now, the reason why I'm even doing this series is because I found that you can do several relationship horary charts for someone, and if the judgment is always negative, then I would check the natal chart for one of these marriage preventing yogas and other issues too. I mean, these are not the only relationship things that can cause problems in relationships, obviously. But so many times there would be one of these marriage preventing yogas. Now, I'm using the tropical zodiac here, so you can use these in your practice if you are a Western astrologer. You'll see that these yogas work really well. They don't always actually prevent marriage, but they do tend to bring marriages to an end, depending on other factors in the chart. So timing is a part of it. So they're more like divorce yoga. Now, here's an example of a woman who has never been married. She's a single mother and single for many years because of how difficult the last relationship was. And as you can see, she has this Moon-Venus opposition in the first and the seventh house axis, though she does have another one too. It's not a marriage preventing necessarily, but what it does is just shows that marriage would be, or even maybe even a long-term relationship, which is just not a source of happiness or fulfillment. And so that is when the Moon is in the seventh, and the seventh Lord, which is Aquarius here, ruled by Saturn, is in the 12th. There's actually a Moon-Saturn mutual reception happening here, where they're in each other's signs. And the seventh Lord being weak, which it is in the sign of Cancer, Saturn is weak in Cancer, he's considered to be thirsty there, indicates unhappiness in marriage. Luckily, marriage isn't the only way to evolve. Now, the two ways are the one-on-one, which is marriage to a human, or the one-on-one, which is marriage to God. The other one is the one-on-many. Venus-Moon opposition makes one popular with the public, so this is really good for your career, especially if your career involves interaction with the public in any way. So, such as having an audience, such as being an author, a YouTuber, or having lots of one-on-one relationships with clients or patients. Now, if you have this yoga, one of the best ways to deal with it is deciding that as a life stance, that you will never take anything personally, even when your partner is trying to hurt your feelings. Because if somebody's actually trying to hurt your feelings, well, then that's more about them than it is about you. And just deciding to not take anything personally is just going to save you and your relationships a lot of suffering. One of the other things that you can do, and that is to cultivate other relationships where you can get some of your emotional needs met. Of course, adjust your expectations of marriage and learn emotional management techniques. One of the best ways is a cognitive behavioral therapy, and most insurance covers that kind of therapy, and it's usually short-term. It just teaches you some basic ways to identify when your thoughts are causing a big problem for you. Now, like I've already mentioned, it does make you popular with the public, so it can be really good for your career. Now, if your partner has this yoga, then you've probably already experienced at least a few times your partner overreacting to something that you said or didn't say, or a tone of voice, or a glance, or something in your body language. But another way that this can show up in a partner is they seem to be avoidant, like not wanting to get into a committed relationship. And it could be because they have one of these marriage-preventing yogas. I have seen this in my practice where somebody seems to intuitively know that marriage is not right for them, and then it'll turn out that they'll have one or more marriage-preventing yogas or other relationship capacity issues. Now, to decide if your partner's still worth it, because you may still decide that they're at least 51% worth it, more than 51% of the time, you can find out if there's a marriage-preventing yoga or other relationship capacity issues so that you can learn how to deal with it, and so that you know what you'll need to give up or what price you'll need to pay in order to be happy in this relationship. And you can do that by getting the Ready for Love consultation with me to find out everything that gets in your way of love and marriage, and the remedies on what you can do about it. Timing for relationships and marriage is part of the reading too. So this concludes the series on the 3 most reliable marriage-preventing yogas. Thank you for your comments and questions, and let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll do my best to answer them.